No, this isn't a promo for FC Dallas, Dallas till I die. This is actually the classic illustration of, is the glass half empty or the glass half full? You've probably used this before, that foolproof test of, are you an optimistic or a pessimistic person? Now, we obviously know it's not that scientific and it's not that, foolproof. But it's fun to do. It's a good conversation starter. It's a way to get us thinking. And, but for me, it's always a reminder of a few things. For one, it's that thing of, you may generally be an optimistic person, and I hope as followers of Christ we all are, because we know that there is hope. We know that God can bring redemption and renewal in any situation, regardless of the storms of life. But even in that, there are going to be those situations that cause us to lean towards being a pessimistic person. For some of us, it's relationship issues. For some of us, it's financial struggles. For some of us, it may be career struggles. And those are the moments where we struggle to keep that hope and to see how God can work in that situation, in that storm. And we begin to become like Peter, who jumps out of the boat to follow Christ and then all of a sudden looks around and sees the waves and the storms and begins to sink. Now, hopefully, God's always able to bring us out of those storms, and we know He can. The hopefully is, are we going to allow Him to? Are we going to look back towards Him and allow Him to work and to bring us out so that we respond and act in a godly manner? But the other thing about this is unfortunately, when we think about the fact that many of us have become, at times, glass half empty people, I find a lot of times the case is when people begin to talk about the culture around us and the world we live in, and specifically this generation, and they begin to have a glass half empty attitude, where we're without hope. It's just time to throw our hands up. It's time to throw in the towel. Maybe you've had those conversations. I hope not. I hope those words haven't come out of your mouth. But I'm betting with family members, with leaders, maybe even parents of students, deacons, pastor even, you've heard those words of, you know what, it's done. This generation's just gone. They're too lazy. They're not smart enough. They love their phones too much, all of those things. And that shouldn't be the case, because for one, if we're still here, that means God's not done with us yet. And there's a work still to be done. And I firmly believe and know that we have to believe that God wants to move in this generation. He wants to bring about revival in these students, and He wants to use students as a part of that to reach their friends, to reach their school, to reach their families and the community and the world around you. And we have to be able to take that attitude and make sure that our conversations have that positive spin on it, that we do see the hope, that we do believe what Christ can do in this generation, and that He wants to move and will move. And we have to have those conversations with parents and with leaders and with fellow staff members and with church leadership and anyone that we meet. We always have to make sure that we're pushing the conversation back in that direction. Even if it causes some conflict, we have to speak a message of hope and a message of power. And then I believe we also have to pray that way as well. We have to pray believing that God wants to move in the students in your church, and use those students to go out there and reach that world around them, that world that they live in every day. So that's one thing. There's another part of this too. There's a student perspective. See, one of my concerns is that I'm finding with students is they don't see glass half empty or glass half full. They just see a glass of water. They're not thinking through any more deeply than that. And so I think one of our fears, if we're thinking about our students being a part of a revival in their generation, is we have to begin to train them to think on another level. See, for them, they just a lot of times will see a daily routine. They'll see friends around them who, maybe they are going out partying, making bad choices, and that's just what they do. There's friends who have different belief systems, and that's just what they think and they believe. It doesn't affect them. There's friends who don't believe in God at all, who are hurting or struggling, and that's just the hand that, life has dealt them. They don't think any deeper into the, why is this happening? Why is the world and the culture around me changing and heading in a direction that goes against what I'm learning on Sundays or in a midweek service? And then out of that why, what is it I need to do about it? What's God calling me to do? I think a lot of our students are just kind of going through the motions of life. They're just trying to survive the generation and stay out of trouble. When we need to make them experience life change in such a way that they become life changers. That needs to be our work and our focus. And I think part of that is helping our students to kind of take Not necessarily the blinders off, because I think they see the world around them, but to light a fire under them and pray that God lights a fire under them that will help them realize there's a work to be done, that these things that I see don't just have to be the way it is, that I can go out and speak and make a difference. And I think students have, and student ministry as a whole has done a better job of that, especially when it comes to issues of social justice, issues of building community and relationships. Okay, but we also have to train our students in the sense of, what, if your friends don't know Christ, they will die and go to hell and live in eternity separated from God. That if we don't go out there and serve and be a light and show that there's a different way to live, your friends are going to continue to go down a path of sin, which is going to lead to destruction, because it leads to pain, physical, emotional, spiritual pain, and hurt. And those are those struggles that they see their friends facing, and they need to realize it doesn't have to be that way, that there is another way, and that they need to be a part of that. And so I hope for you that you'll join in this. We're taking on a challenge to see revival happen in this generation. That these kids wouldn't just survive and stay out of trouble, but they would be active agents of change for Christ. And whatever that takes. If that means we need to create new tools and resources, we want to do that. If we just need to pray for you more and more specifically, we want to do that. Let us know what you need. Prayer, tools, support, training. We want to do that. If we, need to have a conversation with a kid about different things, we're fine with that as well. We just know God wants to move this generation, and we want to start that conversation of how does that happen and what does that look like in 2016 and beyond. We want to hear what's already working, what's going on. How is God moving and using your students? What ministries are they starting? What relationships are they building? What's working where you are? And so join us with the conversation. Let us know your prayer requests and your concerns. Let us know your praises. Let us know your needs as far as tools, resources, and things of that nature. Where you feel like you're lacking, or maybe where that one piece of the puzzle is that would make the difference in your ministry and in the work that your students are doing for Christ. Because we believe that God is moving. He's moving in a mighty way, and that this generation is going to be a part of something that we could have never imagined. And we want you to believe that with us as well. Let's partner together, let's work together, and let's see God move in a mighty way.